Welcome to the Resonators Conquest podcast, episode 4, The Spires.
For today's episode, we have a special guest, Joey. Why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
I'm Joey, formerly hobby store manager, Vanguard of Conquest, and now I work for Para-Bellum games.
So how did you get started with the game of Conquest?
I started with Conquest as it was in the store that I was managing, and I saw the starter box for months, and I didn't really pick it up or take a good look at it, but I always liked the artwork on it, especially the Abominations artwork. And a player in the store bought the box and asked to demo it in the store, which we let him do. I instantly fell in love with the game, so that's how it started.
Who was that, by the way?
That was Logan.
Was it really? Okay. It's funny too because I got interested by that same starter box, but I had a different thing. It wasn't the art that got me into it. It was the deal. It was just, how could you pass up 2 free regiments? That was like $50 a box.
Yep.
So I was like, that's $100 savings. Cool, let's do it. All right, so here's a controversial question. Last Argument of King or First Blood? Which do you prefer?
Okay, so I think the idea of First Blood is fantastic. Everyone likes the skirmish game, but I got into the game with The Last Argument of Kings. First rank and file game that I played, and now I can't stop playing that. So, The Last Argument of Kings.
All right, at least you chose one. And then do you prefer either tournament play or casual play?
I want to say casual play because it's easier to find casual play. I have nothing against tournaments, and I'll always play in tournaments. I don't go in looking to win. I'm looking for just a rolling dice experience. But honestly, I think tournament play is great because you'll get to learn your army and your rules a lot better.
All right, now that we have an intro to who Joey is and how she got into Conquest, we're going to move right on to the rest of the format of the episode. So next is the count. All right, we're going to start off with my count and what I have with my army so far. And hopefully the pictures will look good enough to display as we're saying these. Starting with the characters, I have 2 High Clone Executors, 1 Biomancer, 4 Pharaohmancers. As you guys all know, it's the hardest part for me is pronouncing all these names. So moving on to the regiments, and these are going to be the assembled regiments that I have right now, is 15 Brute Drones, 3 Abominations, 68 Forced Grown Drones, and then 12 Marksman Clones. Then I have a bunch of unassembled models as well. So I've got another 12 Marksman Clone, 36 of the drones that I won't mention, another Abomination, 12 Vanguard Clones, and then 12 Bound Clones. So Jody, what do you have for your army?
I have a lot assembled and unassembled, so I'm just going to do the totals for everything that I own so far. Starting with characters, I have 1 Biomancer, 1 Pharaohmancer, 1 Mimetic Assassin, 2 Ward Preceptors, 1 Assault Preceptor, 2 High Clone Executors, and 1 Highborn Lineage. For my regiments, I have 9 Brute Drones, 12 Strix, 6 Centaur Avatara, 36 Marksman Clones, 24 Vanguard Clones, 12 Vanguard Clone Infiltrators, 108 Force Grown Drones, 3 Avatara, 12 Bound Clones, 12 Onslaught Drones. Actually, I also have 3 Catabolic Nodes that I run a lot and haven't built. And for monsters, I have 3 Abominations ready to go.
All right, moving on to the state of our armies. All right, Joey, so why don't you go ahead and tell me about the state of your army?
So the state of my army is I run the Underspire. So I have a ton of drones and clones and Pharaohmancers and Biomancers. That part of my army is going well. Most of it has some paint on it. My characters are actually fully painted, which took a long time. But I have a lot of drones and clones that are not complete in their paint schemes. I have 3 different paint schemes planned, 1 for Underspire, 1 for Directorate, and 1 for the Sovereign Lineage, so the 3 subclasses. And I'm still working out the Underspire colors, actually, so that's been a bit of a delay for me.
I know, that's pretty much why I stopped working on my Nord, because I wasn't sure exactly how I want to do all their skin tones, and I'm like, put them on hold for a while until I figured that out.
Yeah.
Even though I figured that out months ago, I still haven't gotten back to them. Just one of those projects on the back burner.
Yes.
What about your basing?
My basing. So I love the basing I have for my directorate colors. The problem is I was using some flower tufts from a brand I can no longer find. So I've got this AK Interactive mud texture, and then I just sparsely put on some of this red or white flowers that I inevitably put blood on. Because that's what I do. So it's not going to be too hard to fix the flower situation. I just need to find white ones, and then I'm going to make them red.
So are you using a specific blood color or technical paint?
Mephiston red.
Okay. Well, I was just asking because I use Blood for the Blood Gods almost exclusively for blood. Then I found a couple other ones, but so far that seemed to work the best.
That works good. It's usually Mephiston red or Flesh Terror red, I want to say. Both of them are good reds.
I have also used, Blood Glistening, I think it was, from Army Painter, I think it is.
Army Painter.
And it works really well as well. But I find that the Blood for the Blood God is goopier.
Yeah.
So you can actually make drips so much easier with it. So that's why I like using it. Something I realized as you were going through this and looking at my notes for the rest of the episode, I don't know what I'm doing with my Spire. My original thought was just to get them painted for demos. And that's why I pretty much started with the box art cover. I'm not even sure which lineage that is, or which one that is. Subfaction it is on the back, the blue and white.
Oh, for the Force Crumb?
Yeah.
Well,
isn't it all of them on the back? On the starter, it had, the brute drones were the same color. They were blue and whitish.
The color schemes that I picked are literally for me. They don't have colors per faction.
I figured they did. A lot of times they do.
No, because even when you look at, like, for example, the Centaur Avatara, the Marksman clones, and the Incarnate Sentinels, they're all Sovereign lineage, all completely different colors.
Okay.
So I just picked my own thing.
I just went for the box art because I really was going to use them just like I said for demos. And I'm still not even sure what I'm going to do about the basing. I have no plans at this point, so I'll figure that out soon, hopefully.
Yeah.
Or I'll just continue to do like the box art.
You'll find something you like.
That's one of those things that tends to be hard for me is to figure out how I want to paint things. It's the slowest process. Once I figure that out, the painting process kind of goes smoothly. So also with my army, I've been recently given a big portion of it. Someone had bought a big army, like over 2,000 points, I think, and they had gifted it to me. And so I was kind of overloaded with a lot of extra pieces to assemble and then now extra pieces to paint. And so, I got to figure out what I'm going to do with them and then just start painting them and getting them ready, especially the demo models that I have, set up for the different First Blood and Last Argument of Kings. We're going to move on to our favorite regiments and characters. Okay, so we're going to start with Joey's favorite characters and regiments.
Abomination, but also Ferromancer and Brute Drones. Ferromancer by proxy of getting the Brute Drones and the Abomination onto the board. So Ferromancer is my favorite character, all about the drones and clones up to the Abomination.
But do you only like the Ferromancer because you have to bring him to bring the other units or regiments?
Honestly, yeah. I mean, he's...
So, for my Nords, I actually said I didn't have any favorite because I was only bringing the characters in order to get the regiments that I wanted. So, is it really a favorite or is just the regiments are the favorite and you have to have that?
I didn't think about that too much, so that's a fair point. Without the Ferromancer needing to be my mainstay, my tax for the monsters that I do want to bring, my favorite character is probably the Assault Preceptor. Nothing beats having 4 arms, each of them wielding a weapon.
Any more regiments or characters that you are your
Force gun drones, catabolic nodes. I like hive mode and exploding.
I do like those catabolic nodes.
Yeah.
When I first heard about them, I was like, what? That's ridiculous. But it's fun. It's thematic.
2d6 damage.
I really like anything that's thematic for armies. Yeah. So for me, there is definitely one that stands out above all the rest, and it is very, very new, and it is the Abominable Abomination.
Yeah.
I absolutely love I think the ornament's cool. I think the candy cane's cool. But to be very honest, that hat just does it for me. Especially how it's like tilted to the side and it's just like
it's perfect.
Yeah, it's amazing. I love that model and the 3D printed pieces to go with it. The other one, because I've only got two because I'm very I haven't played a lot of Spire yet, but I was never really a fan of a lot of the artwork and maybe the aesthetics of the army in general. Like, it's not bad, but it just wasn't my favorite. However, the marksman clone I've always really liked.
Yeah.
Their bows are really cool. I think they're really posed in an awesome way. But for me, one of the best parts is that they got the extra arms.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's really cool. That does make them, okay, they got barrage too, so that kind of makes sense. You got an extra arm, you can like, pull out your arrows out of your quiver quicker and shoot more at a time.
Exactly.
So I kind of always like that aspect of them. So that's my favorite characters, regiments. For our next segment, we're going to move on to the favorite rules. So one of my favorite rules, and I don't remember the exact name of it, but it's the ability to kind of manipulate the command stack and to be able to play multiple command cards in a single turn.
Yes, so you're talking about the High Clone Executor's superiority, his supremacy ability, which is coordinated assault.
Ah, that's right.
So it can be once per game. You can reveal and activate your top 3 cards before your opponent can make a move.
That's one of the things I always thought was kind of like a cheater face thing with the Spire. Everyone goes 1 for 1 for 1 for 1, and then the Spire goes, nope, I'm gonna do 3. And I was like, it always upsets me, but it's still like, that's the little thing that they got going on.
It is.
So I gotta take advantage of that more. Now that I know it's with him, I'm gonna definitely bring him. He's also the one that needs. No, he's not the one you need for the marksman clone, is it?
He can bring marksman.
Okay, so that the reason why I wanted to use him originally. So in the starter box, when you got the extra marksman clone box, you actually couldn't use them.
Yep.
Because there was no
High
Clone Executor, so I had to go buy one just to use those because I really wanted to use them, So I'm definitely gonna have to use them now. And then the other rule that I really liked was the healing, especially with that 8-inch bubble.
So Biotic Renewal with a Biomancer, which is a draw event. So when you draw the Biomancer, he automatically does Biotic Renewal, which heals his regiment for D6 and any regiment within 8 inches for D3.
That was devastating against me in Santa Clara. He had 2 units that were right there, and so he'd heal one and heal the other 2 right behind him.
Yep.
Like, oh, that's not fun.
Good to keep him close.
Yeah, even though he rolled low, it was still helpful to get all those heals in.
Yes.
All right, so let's talk about some of your favorite rules.
Okay, so similar to an interview you recently had, I like avatar projection. So this I will either put on my Ferromancer or my Biomancer, mostly my Ferromancer. Avatar projection enables the character who is an infantry unit to act like they're a brute and then come in with the brutes. So I put him in with the brute drones, that way he's hiding behind 15 wounds, as opposed to putting him in with a bunch of force-grown drones that might go down easier.
Oh, much easier, yeah. My drones don't, in the games I've played so far, they didn't get out of the field very quickly. Was there any more rules? Yeah.
Honestly, that's it. It's avatar projection for the Ferromancer. I also like the Catabolic Node, which is a model, but its ability is Catabolic Rupture. So it basically explodes before it first clashes, dealing 2d6 damage. Your regiment takes some wounds, but if you get 2 6s and you deal 12 wounds with essentially 1 model, that's pretty good.
So have you actually wiped out a unit with using that?
Yes, infantry units, and I've almost taken out an Apex Predator.
And so that also happens at the beginning of the activation, because of drawing, right?
Yep, so basically when you activate that regiment, the Catabolic Node ruptures first, so you don't get your full attacks of the infantry and then an explosion. You get to explode, and then whoever survives can attack after.
All right, moving on to our playstyle. Well, since I haven't really played a lot of games, my playstyle is learning the game. At least learning how the Spires work. So I really don't have much to say about that other than, when I do play, I do definitely like to have my marksman clone out there. And the brute drones, when I did play with them, they did a lot of good damage and they stayed on the field, which is kind of what brutes do. So I do like that. They lasted longer than my household knights at times, so that's always a bonus.
Yeah.
All right, so how about your playstyle?
My playstyle is essentially summed up in one word: recycle. So I go out there, I take decay from buffing my guys, I explode, I kill my own guys, and then I heal. So I like to play Recycleless with the Underspire specifically.
How about, do you play more aggressive or defensive?
I learned from my good friend Q that I'm an aggressive player. I am not a strategic player. I want to get up in your face, explode, roll dice. Yeah.
Which is basically how I play my Nord army. It's always going to be in your face, and I want to get there as fast as I can. And to be honest, well, I play with my Old Dominion. A couple regiments I send up there to fast attacks, but then I actually do a lot of objective-based stuff. With my Nords, it has nothing to do with objectives. I'm just gonna go up there. I don't know, put everyone in engagement range and try to wipe you completely out. Because there's two ways of winning. You can do the objective wins, or you can just wipe out your enemy, or make them.
Yeah, if they're not alive, they can't breathe, they can't score.
Exactly. It doesn't matter how many more points they have than you. If they're dead, they're dead.
Yep.
All right, our last segment is going to be the future of our armies. So for me, I really, really want the avatars, the centaur avatars and the other avatars. They're brutish. I love the monsters. They look really fun, especially the horsies. I like my horsies. And the resolves on both of them seem ridiculous.
They are.
And when I was fighting against them, I was not happy. And I always find that that's a good regiment to want to play with, is one that you get frustrated playing against.
Yeah.
All right, Joey, so how about the future of your army?
The future of my army. So, being as I focus on the Underspire so much, I have to focus on the Sovereign lineage and building my Avatara, my Centaur Avatara, my Highborn lineage. They're very good at competitive play. You see them a lot in tournaments. I just haven't built them because I like my hive mode. So for the future of my army, we're going to be building our way up to the upper spire.
Do you think that the next episode should be Dragon or Wadron? All right, you heard it here. The next episode is going to be all about the Dragon.
Dragon!